Now, over the last day or so, we've been hearing about the desperate situation in parts of drought-stricken Karoo. The charity Gift of the Givers taking food, water tankers to Klipplaat, some 120 kilometres outside Graaff-Reinet. Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman has been telling us that people are eating cats and dogs and tortoises. They urgently need water, food and fodder for livestock. So where is the government in all of this? Why is a charity reliant on donations from the public coming to the aid of people begging for help? Isn't this precisely what our tax money should be paying for? Well, let's speak now to Sputnik Ratau, spokesperson for the Department of Water and Sanitation. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for your time. What is the department doing about the desperate situation in the Karoo?
Well, thank you very much for your time. Yes, there's a lot of work that we are doing. Remember that this area has been battling the drought for a number of years, and that drought has not broken up to now. The dam that mainly serves this area, the Nweba Dam, has been at around 0% for the last 2 to 3 years, and therefore that has not been very helpful. Only in February this year did it get to about 20%, and that also dissipated until it went to about 16 or so percent. In fact, that has not stopped some of the work that we've been doing, because beyond that, we did see that as part of the drought relief that we had to come into the area with after it was declared that the eNCA is a drought-stricken province. There's a number of issues that we've been able to take up to look at bringing relief to that part of the country. It has not yet borne the required fruit, but there's a lot of work on the ground.
You're doing so much. Why are people phoning organisations such as Gift of the Givers, crying in hunger, crying out for food, for water? Why are people eating cats and dogs and tortoises if you're doing so much?
Well, I will not be able to talk about whether that is happening and how far it is. I haven't seen that. I heard the report. But if we are to give you the kind of figures and the kind of work that we are doing, you'll be able to see that in terms of drought relief, the drought funding in itself, there's over an amount of close to 10 million that has been gone into that.
So I'm sitting here, Mr. Ratau, I'm getting two very different stories, and I'm actually looking at the visuals of the organisation sinking boreholes, sending water tankers in, people absolutely desperate, children going through rubbish sites, and you're saying, well, you know, we're doing quite a lot. How many water tankers have you sent to Klipplaat in recent weeks? How many? How many boreholes have you sunk in that area? And it's not just Klipplaat, it's Butterworth, it's Queenstown.
We're looking at the Beyers Nadia local municipality, you are correct. But when we look at it, and if we are to look at the number of tanks and the number of things that we have in total, if we look at Graaff-Reinet itself, over 10 tanks have been sent to the area. And in Klipplaat, also a number 10 tanks have been sent.
When were those 10 tanks sent?
It is within the relief process of COVID-19, as well as drought relief. Remember,
I understand.
Can I just say this?
Sure, go for it.
Hold on. Drought was declared last year, and between then and now, Amatola has also been having its hydrologists that are looking for alternative sources of water, which is groundwater. And that has been having, the COVID-19 interventions have included the supply and installation of tanks together with tankers. So there's a lot of things that have been happening. Another thing that has been a problem, and we have to be able to talk about it, is that over and above everything else that that has been happening and the difficulties, the community has really been doing its own bit in terms of water conservation efforts. But the issue of vandalism and theft of infrastructure also has impact on it, because we were not able to use the little bit of water we could use in them to be able to bring water.
I hear you, Mr. Ratau. No one is saying that the new minister, Sisulu, did not inherit a very flawed ministry. And, you know, speaking to Dr. Suleiman last night, he was saying, look, no one is disputing that there are enormous problems and there is massive attempt to fix things. But the truth is it's not enough. And what we've learned from COVID is that when this government has to kick into action really quickly and mobilize a lot of water tankers very quickly, they can do so. This is an emergency situation. This is not, oh, we're getting to it, we're doing our best. It has to happen now because people are absolutely desperate. And what I'm putting to you is that there needs to be more of a sense of urgency. I know the Minister is meeting this evening with Gift of the Givers, but I think it's that lack of urgency that is becoming increasingly worrying because lives are on the line here. And I want to ask you, what more are you planning to do?
We have, Sally, and the sense of urgency is there. We have a provincial office that is working very hard in this regard. And we're talking about not just the area of Beyersmith here, but the whole province, because the whole province has been drought-stricken for a very long period. When we look at Klipplaat and Graaff-Reinet and New Bethesda, we are looking at the replacement of water meters that we can be able to make sure that the accurate water metering takes place, because that also gives us an idea. Are we saving? Are we able to provide more? What are the things that we are doing? The hydrological studies that I'm talking about looks at the incremental use of groundwater. But you must remember that groundwater, we can also not just drill boreholes all over the place. We need to do that in a very organized manner. But Amatola water is on the ground. It's part of the drought relief efforts that are happening. The replacement of water pipelines, about kilometers and kilometers, that is looking at and enlarging the supply when that water comes through from the smaller pipelines so that we can be able to install the bigger pipelines. The refurbishment of control systems on the existing boreholes so that we do not give too much pressure on the new boreholes that are coming into play. So there are a lot of things that are happening. It may not look like it is reaching the people at the right time, but we are really working flat out to be able to
it's good to hear, and I hope we hear more news from you in the coming days about more interventions, because the situation on the ground, despite the work you're doing, is very, very desperate. Thank you very much for your time this evening, Sputnik Ratau, spokesperson for the Department of Water and Sanitation.